G'day, Tom Garriman, sales representative at Apex Results Realty, located in Burlington, Ontario. I operate from Grimsby through to West Mississauga, and I deal with all points in between. So, we're dealing with the end of October and moving into November. Now, what is the market doing? We've seen a lot go on recently, and I can put it simply for you. I have received a number of emails and read different articles, and here's what I can tell you. 1, you are in a seller's market. 2, you're in a buyer's market right now. And 3, you're in a balanced market. So, what we have is 3 different viewpoints all being put out there. What do we really have? Let's take a look at it. Historically, the fall market can be going into as late as, I would say, December 10th to the 15th roughly. At that point, whatever rush is going on, how it's been created, would normally end off. Now, a rush for fall, that little bit of a bump where the market picks up and buyers and sellers are doing their thing, can be anywhere from, say just over 2 weeks long, normally about a month and a half, up to almost 3 months. Now, it depends when it starts, and there's different variables go along with it. What we've seen in the past is, for the last few years, it's been wavy. It's been up and down. So there is no one standard of what must happen. And you notice at the beginning of every one of these articles, I do mention that. We have to go with historical data and what has happened in past. And it's really easy to say this sort of thing should happen again in future. But what we're seeing right now, interest rates, still low. Bank of Canada announcement, they're leaving the rate alone possibly until 2016. Now, the banks themselves, the lenders, are playing with that number a little bit. We've seen interest rates go up, and I'm talking about a fixed rate 2.99 or 2.89 for 5-year fixed 6 months ago. Today, actually just a few days ago, I saw 3.59, and it appears interest rates are just dropping right off. I saw 3.49 2 days ago. I may even see 3.39 or even 3.29 by next week. You're going to have a little bit of fluctuation back and forth. So interest rates are not a factor. Economy. Everyone's seeing what's going on in the US. They need to get themselves organized and sort out what's going on. So buyers and sellers today are looking and say, yes, they're a factor, but everyone's sick and tired of it. So what do we have? We have not a lot of listings. We have buyers, not as many, because the government's put restrictions on. Lenders have tightened up how they're lending and everything else. So instead of having a super hot market, and yes, if you do read the media, you take a look at the numbers, everything's going up. But it is not going up at 30% or 10% in most cases. There are cases where, yes, in a specific neighborhood, a few properties were listed and they've sold. It's not across the board. It's not across Canada. And it's not even across Toronto either. We're going to ignore Toronto because we're talking more west. Grimsby through to West Mississauga. So, people are saying it's a seller's market. A new listing goes on the market. If it's priced properly, if it is nice, it is gone. Not always. What mechanical systems need to be replaced? So take a look at the furnace, the air conditioning. Take a look at the appliances. Are they nice? Are they 10 years old? Are they 20 years old? Are they all dated? The house is very nice. It's gorgeous, yes. But it's completely dated or has been updated. The roof is a reasonable age, say under 5 years. The windows are under 5. You can be under 8 and still have an impact. The appliances are included and they're in decent shape. They're not super old and they were good quality when they were purchased. And after just a few short years, they're still recognized as good quality. So those properties tend to sell quickly. Then you have the properties again. Well, the place needs work. Mechanical systems are older. The roof needs to be replaced in just a few short years, maybe 3. The windows can be older. Any of these factors mean that you're going to get less for the property. So, and of course, the reality is most properties are in between. Now, the slowdown we've had over the year, I deal with a lot of first-time home buyers. Most of them have not moved this year. They're not advancing. They're not carrying on with the process. I've met with them. I've interviewed with them. I've briefed them. I dealt with a couple at the end of last year that went into this year. I've talked with a great number of people, and everyone is waiting to pay off debt to build up more money for a deposit or potentially to have more money in reserve. Not everyone is going to the parents or immediate family and saying, you know, we want to buy right now. It's like a good time, and getting past $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Not everyone is. Some are. It is happening, but not everyone. So I have just recently met with first-time buyers, and we're going to be going out to figure out location they would like, and we're in no rush. This could take up to 5 months because we need to look for sort of location first, and with that, the type of property that they're looking for. And they will see that as they go through the different locations. And literally, we're going from Grimsby through to the east end of Burlington and looking at just about everything in between. So, the market right now, if you're a seller, you need to be listening to the feedback. Now, when I'm saying this every time, if you're getting feedback, your realtor must contact the other side and say, what's going on? What do you think about the property? What do you think about the location? What do you think about the price? And if there's serious interest, pay attention to them, follow up. Now, I did say that we are in a seller's market. That means you can put your property up for an unfair price almost, and it's going to sell relatively quickly. In some cases, this is true. And then, well, you know what? It's a buyer's market. Well, the property's been sitting there for 4 months on the market, or longer in some cases, and they are out there now, and there are a few of them. Well, you know what? You can bring a low-ball offer. And finally, the balanced market. How can it be balanced? Because some of those properties that have been sitting on the market for a while are off the market. Some of them are coming back on, possibly with new realtors, or they're starting up again in the spring market, hoping that the markets have recovered, or they're going to do a little work, or they're just taking a break from, say, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months on the market with showings and no serious offers. Now, Hamilton Burlington has said that we're in a seller's market for end October. The stats are out. Numbers look good. I have talked to people, my fellow realtors. I have been driving areas, and I'm taking a look at it and saying, that looks more like a buyer's market in certain price points in certain neighborhoods. Both are true. Overall data looks good. Specific cases, you can find, I hate to use the word, deals, because a property has been on the market for longer than it should. Unfortunately, some of those people are not realistic, because it's always a good time to sell, because you'll always get top dollar with these low interest rates. And the balanced market comes about because some of those properties coming off the market. So if you go looking and you're willing to take the time, you have the time, then yes, you can find less expensive property, or a property's been on the market for a little while that needs a little bit of work, and you can purchase it and do the work yourself. That is the reason why well-turned-out properties with all the systems done are selling relatively quickly for close to list price, whereas properties that are not selling. They're sitting. First-time buyers, or even those who are upsizing, they may not have the funds to do the work. So where are we going? Right now, it's a good one. Interest rates are going to stay low. Our economy is not horrible. Hamilton is no longer a steel town, which has no impact in the big picture because only a few jobs were lost in the big picture. So the region itself is not relying on that old industrial side. Medical, professionals, financial, that industry, that side of the industry is still there, and it's still doing well. So I think what you're going to see for the next bit, it's going to be quiet. We are into what is known as the Christmas slowdown right now. I wouldn't have expected to see this for another 2 or 3 weeks, but it is here now. And I'm seeing properties coming off the market. People are just sort of easing off, and they'll get back to it in the new year. Now, in the new year, at some point, I think you're going to see more listings on the market than we've seen in the last year or two, because the total number of listings have been down in a time frame. Overall, it sort of is consistent, and it just feeds the purchasers. But in past years, we've had a glut initially, and then buyers go out in larger quantities than we've seen in the last few years, and it's a rush. I don't think you're going to see a rush in the spring. It'll depend on what the government's saying. It's going to depend, obviously, on what's going on with the media, how they're pushing Asia, what problems are going on there with the economy, Europe, and North America. The economic easing in the US, the problems they've had recently will start to fade, and we'll start feeling a bit more confident and be going out and purchasing. So I think you're going to notice that it's going to be quiet until probably end of January, possibly mid-February, and then it will slowly start to pick up. And of course, I'm hoping by April, it's booming along. It would be good in a way if it did boom, but in the big picture, that would also push prices up. If a lot of properties being listed and a lot of them are selling in very short order, people will start pushing their prices up. If it's consistent and they're selling within, say, 30 days for close to list price, then that push-up factor may not happen, because there will be properties left over, and those will bring the price down or sort of keep it more consistent, which is what the government's been expecting. Now, if you're listening to the media, I've been catching some things recently. Well, we're expecting to see a real estate bubble. Interest rates are going to stay low for a very long time, possibly 2016. That means the banks are going to want to see more profit centers. So they may start looking at, I'm not going to say subprime because I can't do that in Canada, but they may be more willing to give the mortgages out because they need to have more clients bringing in more money. That could be bad for us. Big picture. Not necessarily bad for you or someone out there who has 30 or 40% ownership of their property, which they bought years ago or more. But for the people who are willing to just throw themselves out there any way they have to get that money to buy the house, because they must be in the market now. So those are the people who will be in problem or in trouble. Do I see a major adjustment coming? No. Can there be an adjustment coming? Yes. We've had little mini adjustments that you almost have to be paying attention in that month or two to see it. We're looking in a neighborhood. I have seen people get property for less than list price and by a good amount. Now, if you do go out and you end up seeing multiple offer situations going on right now, unless you must purchase the property, keep looking. Because we are still having the banks putting appraisers through, and if you are purchasing in multiple competition for full price or over, you're going to find the appraisal may not come in at that dollar value. It's just showing us that the banks, the lenders, are a little bit concerned that if there is a bubble, if the bubble settles by 10%, if you paid $300 when you should have paid, say, $280, then the value of that property is down at $270, and it may not readjust back up immediately. Banks and lenders don't want to have a lot of property on the market if they have to foreclose on you because you decide to walk away. So, anyway, that's it. It's a slow market right now. It is consistent. It's going to get slower for a little bit, and in the new year, it will pick up again, as it does every year. That's it. Any questions, any comments, please feel free to post below. And you know what? Remember, the most important thing when you're going out looking is to take your time, make an informed decision, and to stay positive.